5 Palestinians were killed and several others injured in an Israeli airstrike on a home in Deir al-Balah, central Gaza. According to Palestinian media, Israeli fighter jets targeted the home late last night, leaving women and children among the casualties. Rescue teams are still combing through the rubble in search of missing individuals. Israeli forces have intensified their attacks on Kamal Adwan Hospital in Beit Lahia, northern Gaza. Since Saturday evening, the hospital, a critical lifeline for thousands, has faced direct bombing, artillery shelling and sniper fire. The assaults have caused severe damage, endangering the lives of patients and medical staff. Israeli forces targeted a residential home in the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza, killing 4 children and their mother. Palestinian media reported that rescue teams were unable to reach the victims, who were trapped under the rubble of the collapsed building. This morning, an Israeli newspaper revealed that approximately 70% of homes and buildings in Jabalia have been destroyed by Israeli forces. Winter has arrived in Gaza, leaving nearly 2 million displaced Palestinians struggling against the wind, cold and rain. Severe shortages of blankets, warm clothing and firewood are compounding the crisis, as shelters and makeshift tents have deteriorated after months of use. The United Nations has warned that many living in these conditions may not survive the winter, noting that at least 945,000 people urgently need winter supplies, which remain out of reach for most due to soaring prices in Gaza. Health authorities in Gaza have confirmed that the Palestinian death toll from the ongoing Israeli onslaught since October 7th has surpassed 45,250, with over 107,000 injured. Officials reported that Israeli forces carried out 4 massacres against families in Gaza within the past 24 hours, killing at least 32 Palestinians and injuring 54 others. United Nations Relief and Works Agency spokesperson Adnan Abu Hasna has confirmed that Sweden's decision to cut funding for the agency will have a major impact on education across the 5 regions it operates, including Gaza. Abu Hasna emphasized the severe consequences of this financial shortfall, the education of Palestinian refugees, warning that it exacerbates the already critical living conditions in Gaza. Israeli forces have arrested at least 6 Palestinians, including a child, during a series of raids across the West Bank since yesterday evening. The arrest came amid widespread incursions and heavy-handed tactics by Israeli soldiers involving extensive searches, house demolitions, and the detention of several individuals without charge. Israeli forces have raided the town of Tamun in Tubas, northern West Bank. Palestinian media reported that Israeli forces infiltrated the town and conducted raids on 2 homes. These incursions are part of a broader and intensifying trend of Israeli military assaults in Palestinian areas over recent months. Two Palestinians were killed and several others injured in an Israeli airstrike on a gathering of citizens in the Al-Burij refugee camp, central Gaza. Local media reported that the explosion caused multiple casualties, with emergency teams quickly arriving to transport the wounded to nearby hospitals. The condition of the injured is still being assessed. UNICEF has stated that children in Gaza are cold, sick and traumatized. In a statement, the organization highlighted that hunger, malnutrition and dire living conditions are putting children's lives at risk. Over 96% of women and children in Gaza are unable to meet their basic nutritional needs, relying mainly on rationed flour, lentils, pasta and canned food, which are gradually weakening their health.
Humanitarian assistance has been largely unable to reach the children in need there for more than 10 weeks.
Georgios Petropoulos, head of the UN Sub-Office for Humanitarian Affairs in Gaza, has condemned Israel's denial of aid movements, calling it a violation of international humanitarian law and aid weaponization. Petropoulos emphasized that the humanitarian situation in Gaza has worsened significantly since the conflict began. He also noted that the UN's efforts have been met with indifference from the Israeli side, with the Israeli government failing to provide meaningful support for the UN's humanitarian operations in the Strip.
Inside the Gaza Strip are most often denied.
The ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza continues to escalate, with severe shortages of food, medicine and basic necessities. International calls for aid and the protection of civilians grow louder amid the conflict.